You don't have to use it. That's the beauty of this. It's free game. You can literally take this information, develop your own process, and that's what we're doing right now.
That's good.
What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new week of opportunity and growth. I have a cool topic today, and it's a very interesting one because it's something that we already know, but we might not be taking advantage of. So today, I want to give you guys 4 tips that are going to allow you to study the art of acting and work on your craft at the same time without acting classes. Now, one thing I don't want you guys to do is just rely on the 4 tips that I'm going to give you today. They're very important. You're going to use them for the rest of your career. And honestly, this is what studying revolves around. But the number one thing is acting class and training with a coach or doing workshops. Any of those types of things really need to come first. And these 4 tips today are more so secondary, what you can be doing on your own if you can't afford acting class or if you're in a location that does not offer acting classes. Even if you're in a location that doesn't offer an acting class locally, there's literally like a million options through Zoom or through Skype where you're able to work with an acting coach or join an acting class via online. So, and they're going to be the same price, probably cheaper during quarantine right now, but in general, it's the same price as if you were going to class. That's if you're in a location that does not have classes nearby. Me personally, I'm not really into the whole Zoom and Skype thing. I'll do it if I have to, but I would rather be in an acting class or working face-to-face with my acting coach so I have that real-life connection. That's just me. You don't have to follow what I do. You do your own thing. And before we jump into the video, guys, please do not forget to subscribe and follow me on Instagram right up there. If you guys want to leave a comment below, you can ask any question that you'd like. You can put a video request in, and I will cover as many things as I can, as fast as I can, to get the information out to you guys. I appreciate the support, and as always, if somebody needs to hear these videos that cannot afford acting class or doesn't have class nearby, just share the video, guys. Help them out, because there's somebody out there that doesn't have this information that I know could really use it. Share the video, help a friend out. So, no acting class? No problem. We're going to start with this. The number 1 tip that I have today out of the 4 is going to be reading books. And it's not just reading any books. This is going to be a great way to study because it's going to give you information that you can take notes on. So yes, you can go to acting class, listen to the teacher or the coach, take your notes. That's one way as well. But I find when I'm reading books, I can organize my notes in a manner that forms either a technique or a process, right? I'm not an actor that really follows a method or this 12-step program thing. It's just not my style. I'm not saying it's wrong. There's many different ways to find the truth. It's just really as simple as that. I have my own process where I break down, different scripts different ways, or I break down the character different ways. So we don't need to really follow like an exact game plan and, okay, if this is the 12 steps, I have to do all 12 steps. It's not really like that. You find what works for you, and that's what you use to find the truth in your acting. So when it comes to reading books to help you study acting and to work on your craft, I feel like obviously there's like a million books out there that you could be reading, right? We got The Power of the Actor. Everybody knows that one, Ivana Chubbuck. There's actually one that is my favorite that I'm going to primarily talk about today, and it's called True or False. This is just the book that works for me. And that's something that I want to talk about when it comes to reading books. Not only is it a great way to study, but you can also pick and choose what you relate to and what you don't relate to. Because think about it, this is like a diet and a fitness plan, okay? If I'm the trainer and I'm training somebody, right? I give them what works for me. Here's my diet, here's my workout plan, follow this. 10 times out of 10, my client is not going to get the results. They're not going to look like what I look like, okay? Because genetics play a role and because they need a plan that is specific to them, right? Acting is no different. You need to develop a process or a method or a technique or whatever you want to do, you need to be able to develop that and cater it to what works for you to help you find the truth. And again, I don't follow these 12-step processes and the methods I don't do all that. It's just me. If it works for you guys, that's great, and continue doing that for sure. I just have a different process that I use, and it just works for me, and that's what I go with. And I found that process in this book. Hopefully you guys can see that. So this is called True and False by David Mamet. And I think I bought this used for like $4, literally. But my acting coach recommended this to me. To be honest, I had to read this like 6 times to fully understand the language and the phrases that were used and the examples that he uses. It gets a little wordy and it gets a little hard to understand. But I will say, he makes acting and the art of acting and the way we study and all these things, he just makes it so simple and just really common sense. He just allows it to be easy and free. I mean, on the cover it even says hearsay and common sense for the actor. It just breaks down acting to like a really simple form where you don't need to follow a 250-step program and character developments and all this other stuff. I don't know. I relate to this personally. It's easy, it's simple, it makes sense, and I can connect to it. So I would highly recommend that you guys buy this book, check it out, take notes on it, and read it multiple times until you fully understand it. That's just me. I am going to add the link to this book in the description below so you guys can purchase this. I believe to get it used is like $3.99, maybe $4 or something like that, but it doesn't even matter. I personally believe that this book is one of the best acting books ever. That's just my opinion, but I highly recommend that you guys check this out. It doesn't matter if you just started acting or if you've been acting for 20 years. I promise you, this book right here will help simplify everything. But take notes on that book. While you're reading, take notes. I guarantee you, I promise you, you'll learn something amazing out of that book. And it could be something that you use forever. I don't know, that's up to you. But get that book. Trust me. So that link will be in the description below. Make sure you guys check that out and buy it. Now, another book that we have, which everybody knows about, Ivana Chubbuck, which is the Chubbuck technique, is The Power of the Actor. Everybody knows this book. So I read this book and it wasn't my favorite, which people could be like, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. Yeah, it wasn't really my favorite. But what I did like about that book was I was able to go through, and just because there was things I didn't relate to, I don't have to write those things down. I don't have to follow those things. However, there were a couple things that I really related to, and I really loved the perspective, the definition of it. So I took notes on that and I added it into my process. So my process is catered to me. I use my own process. It's what helps me find the truth, and it's what helps me be honest in my acting. I may take ideas from other people's processes. I may take ideas from books that I read. I may steal ideas from shows that I watch when I see people reacting or acting, right? But at the end of the day, you have to cater to yourself. What works best for me, what helps me find the truth. And you can find that in these books. These books have so many different processes and techniques and all these things. Put together your own little plan and find a process that really works for you. Read your books. Read multiple books. It doesn't matter if it looks interesting or if it doesn't look interesting. Read all of them. Find the ones that you relate to the most. Develop your own process. If you follow a technique or a method or a program or whatever you follow and it works, stick to that. Obviously, you can still read books for general knowledge, but I'm more so speaking to reading the books to study acting, maybe develop your own process of how you can find the truth in your acting, and then also using the books as tools to perfect your craft or to sharpen your tools in general. The second tip I want to give you guys is just pretty generic. Out of all the 4 tips that I'm going to give you today, I think this is a big one.
That's what she said.
Watching TV, watching movies, watching scenes on YouTube. You can literally study acting and really work on your craft at the same time just watching movies and TV. Especially if you're trying to make it onto a TV or in a movie one day, you might want to watch that and see what the process is like. Now, if you're just starting out in acting, that is like key. You definitely want to be watching movies and TVs like all day, every day. Well, maybe not all day, every day, but quite a bit. Because it will seriously help you. You can analyze people's demeanors. You can analyze how they're reacting in a scene. You can really see how subtle a lot of things are. Because you might look at a scene on TV and be like, dang, she's about to flip out. But in fact, she doesn't, and she just stands there, and then you're like, hold on, wait. I would have flipped out in that scene if he would have done that to me. But she didn't. She was just zoned in and zoomed in. She didn't even move. So that allows you right there to study and say, dang, she found a different choice for that scene where somebody else might have screamed and yelled. So use movies and TV as much as you can to just really find out how people are reacting and how people are making choices within their scenes. This will also help you with communication. How are they having conversations? How are they building relationships within the scene? And maybe how are the actors handling the scene and the things that are happening to them in the moment? And I used to live by this rule where I would always want to just watch shows that I could see myself on because I found them interesting. But after a while, I figured out I was doing that primarily because I was enjoying the show. It wasn't really to study. So I've had to kind of rewire myself and watch a TV show not to enjoy the show, but to literally just watch the acting moments. And that is what studying really is. It's fun to watch a show and enjoy it and experience it, but if you're trying to use TV and movies as like a studying tool, it doesn't necessarily have to be an enjoyable one. It can just be one that is great acting, so you can really study the moments and the reactions. Okay, number 3 is going to be YouTube and Google, because those are your best friends. I remember when I first got into acting, I was Googling and YouTubing every single thing you could ever imagine about acting, right? Maybe some of you at home do that as well, or maybe that's why you're on my YouTube channel right now, because you're trying to get advice on acting. It's the same thing that I was doing when I started, and I still do it to this day, honestly. So when you're going on YouTube, there's so many different resources and advice and tips and all different things, right? Obviously, you want to make sure whatever you're looking at is making sense. You don't want to just watch any random video. So like with my videos, if you're watching my acting advice, you can actually put my advice to use, see if it works. I guarantee you it will, but that's not for me to decide. That's for you guys to decide. Anything that you've seen in my videos, put it to work. And if it's working, then that right there will allow you to first off have a free outlet of acting advice through my channel. Second off, you can start developing a process. See if the process works for you or not. When it comes to Google, I used Google to form my resume. I used YouTube and Google to figure out how to put my demo reel clips together, find agents, network with other actors, find out where the events were happening around town. Literally used Google and YouTube for everything. So it's a number one source in my opinion, because the amount of information that we have today, the amount of web pages and all these things, it's really just an unlimited amount of sources on there. One major thing that Google will be good for when it comes to studying acting or working on your craft, printing out scripts. You can actually go on Google, type in like dummy scripts or scripts for movies, and it'll pull up a bunch of them in the images. Find a good one that actually makes sense and looks like it's decent, print it out, and then study the parts of it. Especially if you're a beginner actor and you haven't seen my video of how to break down a script, which you should go check it out. If you're a beginner actor and you're just figuring out different parts of the script, or you want to learn about the characters, or you want to figure out the actions, print a script out on Google and study it. It's free. I still do that today, and I've been doing this for a while. I still print out scripts, I still work on random things, just to see if I can find something new. And there's plenty of acting coaches and acting classes as well that post things on YouTube all the time. Small clips of acting advice, or a live stream from class each night. Those are super important to find, and you might have to do a little research in the YouTube search bar there, but I've found some amazing acting coaches and classes for free on YouTube. So they're definitely out there. You just need to do your research. And that is a great way to study acting and to work on your craft right there. But again, I want to emphasize this as much as possible. Do not listen to every single thing that you see or that you're told. You really need to do your research. Make sure the person that is telling you this stuff knows what they're talking about. And a for sure way to figure that out is try. Try the things that they're telling you to do. If it makes sense and it's working, maybe it's legit. If it's stuff that doesn't really make sense and it doesn't really connect with you or it doesn't resonate with you, you don't have to use it. That's the beauty of this. It's free game. You can literally take this information, develop your own process, and that's what we're doing right now. All right, and the last tip I have is going to be one that I kind of have a lot of opinions about, but I think it's different in this situation, and it's going to be film school and college. And obviously that's a phenomenal way to learn the process of filmmaking, how to act, make connections through networking. There's so many different resources within college or film school, let's say, right? Again, I am very strongly opinionated towards college. I think like 80% of it is just like a bunch of scam crap, because you can literally just Google everything and save $30,000. But again, I'm very opinionated. When it comes to film school, I think it's a little different, because not only are you getting like hands-on quality education, but the connections that you're making, the equipment that you're able to use, you're just learning so much that I would have to say it's worth paying for, right? I have a lot of friends here that go to the major film school locally. From their experiences and the equipment they've been able to use and just all these things that are just benefits to them going to school, I gotta say, it's a pretty good resource. It's different if you're going to school for, I don't know, psychology. Totally different, which that was fun. It was great. But again, you can literally do your own homework at home. That's okay. But when it's on the hands-on and it's in the film industry, it's just a little bit different. But that's why it's my number 4 tip, because I think that is a great resource to get your foot in the door for knowledge, networking, and just really understanding the process of everything. So while I may not recommend college to people, I am going to recommend film school. And I think it's an important tool to have, because the connections that you make alone are so worth it, honestly. Then you have these extra added benefits of using the equipment, like I said, or learning the actual process of filmmaking. And part of your assignments are to make films. So you're going to go through that process regardless, being in that school. Do you want to find a good quality film school? Of course. It's the same way if you want to go to college for psychology. You want to find a good quality college where you're going to learn and it's going to be worth your money. So absolutely, make sure you do your research, find out where the best school is that you can possibly, and then utilize that tool. Now, these tips are going to be super important in your career. You probably won't ever stop using these, to be honest with you. But I do want to say, acting class and finding an acting coach should be on your number 1 priority list, to be honest with you. So if you guys click the bell, you can turn on your post notifications, so YouTube will notify you guys every time that I post a video. You can be the first one to get the advice, start taking notes, and then you can add this to your tools. And again, guys, no acting class, no problem. Just follow those 4 tips I gave you, and I guarantee you it'll help you study acting and work on your craft at the same time to help build you into a better actor. I hope you guys found this video helpful, and do not forget to subscribe, like this video, share it, follow me on Instagram, and I will see you guys next time.
That's good.